What if one simple number could tell you how well your body's handling stress and even give you insights into why you're not losing weight or losing fat? These days, so many people are using wearable tech to track things like steps, sleep, calories burned, to help them improve their health and reach their weight loss goals. And the reality is that most people are not really banking on all the data that we can now see about our bodies, nor they understand more than just the basics that these tech gadgets can give them. In fact, most people actually misinterpret a lot of that information. But not to make this video super long, today I'm going to be focusing on one single metric that can tell you a lot about your health, and it's not your calories. And that is something known as heart rate variability, or HRV for short. HRV measures the slight variations in time between your heartbeats, and is becoming a pretty hot topic in the fitness and wellness world today because it can really reveal how well your nervous system is functioning. A higher HRV generally means that your body's adaptable, resilient, and recovering well, while a lower HRV can indicate stress and poor recovery. So if you've been struggling with fatigue, maybe stalled fat loss, or progress, or you just want to optimize your health, understanding your HRV might be the missing piece. But you might be wondering, how can you control the time between your heartbeats? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down what HRV is, why it matters, and what you can do to improve it. So make sure you keep watching to learn everything that you need to know about HRV. Hey guys, this is Andres back with another YouTube video. I'm a registered dietitian if you don't know who I am. I work with high achieving men to optimize their health, whether that means losing fat, gaining muscle, or maybe just simply having more energy and focus throughout the day. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. I share science-backed nutrition advice to help you reach your goals, whether those may be weight loss or not, while steering clear from gimmicks, fads, and misinformation. So if that sounds like it's something that you want more of, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss anything in the future from me. So let's get into it. If you're the type of person who is very data-oriented like I am, and you look for an app for everything, and you love to understand the science of improving your health, this video is definitely for you. Now, I know that not everyone is a huge fan of metrics and apps and things like that for measuring progress, and I respect that, but I also know a lot of people that thrive with this approach, including the majority of men that I work with as a nutrition coach. The way I see it, measuring different aspects of our life, whether that's with an app or even just with the pen and paper, keeping track of things, it just simply helps you create awareness. And once you have that awareness, we can start making changes to our habits so that our actions are more aligned with the goals that we're working towards to. For example, if you're trying to be more active each day, but you're tracking your steps and realize that only hitting a couple thousands or lower is really what's happening, tracking your daily steps is a tangible way to determine if you're making progress or not. And when it comes down to our health journey, there are a lot of different metrics that we can look at, including the step goals that I just mentioned. But today, I'm going to be talking about one specific metric that's a lot less well known, but has been gaining a lot of popularity recently, and that is heart rate variability. If you are a fan of people like Hoverman Lab and Joe Rogan, it's been a lot of conversations about this specific topic in a lot of those mainstream media channels. So let's start with the main question. What is HRV? What the heck is that? HRV is a measurement of the variations in time between consecutive heartbeats. Even though your heart might beat at a steady heart rate, let's say 60 beats per minute, the exact timing between those little lines or those little peaks isn't really perfectly even. Sometimes there's going to be longer gaps between beats, and sometimes there's going to be shorter ones. This variability, short and longer, is controlled by what is called as your autonomic nervous system, or ANS, which regulates your stress, recovery, and overall health. And this may seem counterintuitive, but we actually want variation in timing between heartbeats as opposed to consistent heartbeats. To understand why this is and why your HRV can be important, or a really important number to look at, I'm going to give you a quick crash course on how the nervous system works. The nervous system is divided into two main branches: the central nervous system, or CNS, which is made up of the brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system, or PNS, which connects the central nervous system to all different parts of your body. Within the peripheral nervous system, or PNS, there are two other branches. One is called the somatic nervous system, or SNS, which is in charge of sensory information and movements you can control, like lifting weights and walking. And the other one is the autonomic nervous system, or ANS, which controls automatic functions like heart rate, digestion, and breathing. And then we're going to be breaking down this a little bit more into two more branches of the autonomic nervous system, which is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. I know it gets a little bit complicated. The sympathetic nervous system is also known as your fight or flight response system, and it kicks in during stress, exercise, or danger to increase your heart rate, your blood pressure, and energy to help you take action, or flight in this case. On the other hand, the parasympathetic nervous system, or also known as rest and digest state, is responsible for recovery and healing. Ideally, this is our baseline state, where heart rate and breathing rates are relatively slow and our body is able to properly digest and absorb the food that we're eating. Now, the balance between the two states is mainly controlled by the vagus nerve, which is a major pathway of the parasympathetic nervous system. The vagus nerve runs from the brainstem down to the heart, the lungs, and the digestive organs. Now, when your nervous system is healthy and your vagus nerve is functioning well, you can switch efficiently between this nervous system states, activating the sympathetic system when you need to push hard in a workout or respond to a stressor, and returning to the parasympathetic system for recovery afterwards. The slower heart rate in this state allows for more fluctuations between heartbeats. So someone whose nervous system is flexible and resilient would have a high HRV, which is a good thing. Where we often run into issues is if you're constantly stuck in the sympathetic fight or flight mode because of chronic stress, poor sleep, overtraining, or anxiety. Over time, this weakens the function of that vagus nerve that I just talked about, and you can end up in a sympathetic dominant state, making it harder for your body to recover and adapt to whatever stresses it faces. In the sympathetic state, heart rate increases and the beats are more uniform and predictable. So someone who is in this overly stressed state, it's somebody known to have low HRV, which is not a good thing. So as a quick summary, HRV is one of the best indicators of how well your nervous system is adapting to stress. A higher HRV generally means your body is more resilient, flexible, and able to shift between states of stress and recovery efficiently. On the other hand, a lower HRV indicates that your body is under stress, whether from intense training, poor sleep, illness, or mental and emotional stress. So knowing that, obviously, we will want to put habits in place that are going to help us increase your HRV, or how to do that in a few minutes. But first, I want to answer another question you may have about HRV, and that is, well, how is HRV connected to things like my body composition, in this case, weight loss, fat loss, or muscle gain? The main connections between HRV and weight has to do more with other things that are going to be going on hormonally when your body is in a fight or flight state. When HRV is consistently low compared to your baseline, which we will explain a bit later, it often means your body's chronically stressed. And when you experience stress, the body releases cortisol, which over time can increase fat storage. Chronic stress also makes it harder to build muscle, recover from workouts, affects your sleep, or staying consistent with healthy habits, all of them which impact weight loss. Now, just like I said, HRV is related to poor sleep quality. And why is this important? Because poor sleep disrupts the balance between two key hormones, ghrelin and leptin. Ghrelin, the hunger hormone, increases when you're sleep deprived, making you crave more food, especially higher calorie processed items. At the same time, leptin, the hormone that signals fullness, decreases, and it makes it harder for us to feel satisfied after meals. So the combination can lead to overeating, cravings, trouble sticking to a calorie deficit, which ultimately can affect your weight loss progress. Now, if you're monitoring your HRV and you're starting to notice a decrease in the trend and you're trying to lose weight or not having any success, stress and sleep quality are an important place to look at. This is why I always talked about the fact that it's not just about the macros. Now, as you improve these factors, your HRV will start to adapt and it'll start to increase, and your body will be in a more optimal state for dropping the excess fat. I always tell all my clients when I work with them on our coaching programs that a resistant or a stressed body is not a body that responds to stimulus or doesn't really want to change, because it needs to correct whatever it has going on that has it stressed. And HRV potentially could be a good indicator of that. Now, let's talk a bit about the connection between HRV and performance. This is important for people like athletes and fitness enthusiasts who are now going for or looking at heart rate variability, or HRV, as a tool to optimize training and recovery, including myself, because it provides real-time insights into how well your body's handling the stress from exercise and also from our daily living. A high HRV generally indicates that your body's well recovered and ready for higher intensity training, like lifting heavier or doing HIIT workouts. On the other hand, a low HRV suggests that your body's still under stress and may need more recovery time. Now, in that situation, you might want to stick to a lighter session, mobility work, or even a full rest day to avoid overtraining and burnout. So this may be a helpful tool to help you adjust the intensity of your workouts. Perhaps this is exactly the way I use it. Now, let's look at some data. Now, if you've seen my videos, you know I love to look at the data. One meta-analysis looked at whether adjusting training intensity based on HRV led to better endurance and performance improvements compared to following a fixed training plan. What they found was modifying training based on HRV led to improvements in how the body functions during exercise, like heart rate and oxygen use. However, when it came down to overall performance and peak oxygen capacity, which is known as VO2 peak, the differences were small and not statistically significant. Now, since there aren't many studies on this yet and the research methods vary widely, we can't say for sure how effective HRV-based training is. And there's also been a lot of mixed results in the studies that we do have, so there's definitely a need a little bit more data on this area to be able to definite conclusions. Now, if we look beyond performance to overall health, chronic low HRV is linked to higher levels of things like inflammation and a number of other health conditions, including diabetes, cardiovascular disease, inflammatory bowel diseases, and higher blood pressure, according to the research. Now, let's get into how we track HRV. Measuring heart rate variability at home can be difficult because of the variations in timing of your heartbeat are very small. The most accurate way to measure heart rate variability is through specialized medical machines like electrocardiograms. And obviously, nobody has access to that, nor do they want to be hooked up into a bunch of different cables to be able to do that. Now, thank God we live in the 21st century, and the way of tracking that's most accessible is now available to people in something that they can wear on their body. Wearable devices like Oura Ring, Whoop, and Garmin now are equipped with algorithms able to interpret the data from heart rate alone. We're going to get a little bit into that in just a second, but let's now talk a little bit about HRV and really what it means by people or for each individual. HRV varies with age and between individuals, so we can't really define an universally good or bad HRV. If your HRV is in line with the average for your age and sex, you can consider it to be good, but it's a lot more helpful to monitor your own HRV trends instead of comparing them to others. This is personally what I do. Something that is very, very important to remember is that HRV fluctuates from day to day. So I wouldn't really stress out over small changes. Instead, focus on long-term trends. If your HRV is steadily improving, it's a sign that your body is becoming more adaptable and you're managing stress well. But if you notice a downward trend, it can mean that maybe you need more rest, better sleep, or adjustments to your training routine. But even if you're not actually looking at HRV data, the habits that will improve your HRV are all things that you can start to incorporate regardless. And that's what we're going to be talking about in the next section. Now, one of the things I figure I could do before that is I could take some time today to show you how I personally track my HRV along with other markers. And I'm going to show you on my screen, literally my numbers, so you can get better ideas of how you can interpret yours. So let's get right into this. Okay, so let's talk about what I personally use. I have been using this sensor called Whoop. It's a company that's been around since I believe 2013, 14, 15 or something like that, but I've been wearing this since 2019. This is not a sponsored video, by the way, but I'm sure they could pay me some money. If you're watching this, Whoop, you should probably reach out to me of how much I promoted their sensors to hundreds of people, including some of my clients. Now, Whoop is being used by some of the top athletes in the world, like Cristiano Ronaldo, Rory McIlroy, and Olympic gold medalists. I wear it on my wrist like a watch. Now, it's constantly monitoring things like heart rate, temperature, oxygen, and movement, and then it uses information to give you real-time data on your body status. Whoop uses a really interesting algorithm that provides a recovery percentage every day as a result of a combination of factors like sleep, respiration rate, temperature, resting heart rate, strain, and HRV. To keep things short, I'm going to show you only my HRV markers over time and the adjustments and the changes that we see over a period of like sometimes 6 months. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to be looking at my HRV levels in the past 6 weeks. Remember when I said that you cannot really compare HRV to other people but to yourself? Well, if I was comparing my HRV to a friend that trains with me at the gym with numbers in the 100s, I would think that I have terrible HRV levels, but that's not the reality. So let's take a look at this. For example, in my case, HRV levels typically range, let's look at this right now. In a 6-week process or in a 6-week period of time, it ranged between 54 to, at the highest, it was like closer to 62. So as you can see, my numbers are not crazy hundreds like some other people have. Now, if I look at this data, I would say like, man, like my Whoop information or my HRV is terrible. But now I know that HRV typically ranges in those levels. So then it's a little bit easier for me to be able to compare. Now, what I like to do with Whoop is actually look at my monthly trends. So let's look at my monthly PA, which is my performance assessment, and see what it says. Now, in comparison, let's look at like this. I'm gonna like make it a little bit bigger for you guys to be able to see. So as you can see in here, let me actually go down in here where you can see that something called as HRV adaptation. Now, as you can see in the past few months, my HRV has increased almost 11%, as you can see in this last graph in here in January 25. Now, I did 2 big things that were important to drive my HRV higher in the past couple months, comparatively speaking, with October and November. One of the things that I did is getting consistent sleep, and the second one was a consistent and intentional meditation practice at least 4 to 5 times per week. So I know that I'm improving these markers as a result of these changes in my lifestyle. Now, you can do a lot more other things in Whoop. You can see resting heart rate adaptations. You can see when you're overreaching. You can look at your sleep performance, recovery, strain. I mean, so many other different data, but I'm going to be focusing only on HRV today. Now I'm going to switch over to you because in the next section, we're going to dive a little bit more into ways that you can improve your HRV, although I just tease you with 2 of them, which is sleep and mindfulness. Most of the daily habits that you want to prioritize to improve HRV are the same habits that I've talked about many times before on this channel for weight loss and overall health. So we're not really reinventing the wheel here. I'm talking things like quality sleep, staying hydrated, eating balanced, nutrient-dense meals, reducing alcohol intake, which by the way, alcohol consumption immediately changes your HRV, and reducing excessive caffeine intake. On top of that, stress management plays a major role, and I'm going to link a video in the description where I go further in depth into strategies for managing stress. Now, aside from these basic habits, something else we want to look at when our goal is increasing our HRV is something known as vagal tone. Now, remember earlier when I mentioned the importance of the vagus nerve? Well, the term vagal tone refers to the activity and strength of the vagus nerve. High vagal tone means your body can shift into more of the rest and digest state more easily, which leads to higher HRV. On the other hand, low vagal tone is linked to weaker parasympathetic activity and lower HRV. So I'm going to give you today 4 different ways, maybe I'm going to give you and throw in some bonuses in there, that you can increase your vagal tone and therefore improve your HRV. One of them, which I kind of hinted a little bit earlier into what I did, it's something known as deep breathing, or you can also just do meditation. Slow, control, belly breathing stimulates the vagus nerve and helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system. There's 2 of them that I like to use all the time. One is called box breathing. So imagine that you're breathing in the sides of a box, right? And there's another one called 4-7-8, which consists of breathing in for 4 seconds, holding your breath for 7 seconds, and slowly breathing out for 8 seconds. All of them which have been shown to improve vagal tone, but ultimately also reducing stress. I'm going to walk you through that one that I just mentioned so you can understand, and you can maybe do it with me right on this video so you can see the relaxation that type of breathing can actually do for you. So let's do it together, shall we? Get yourself comfortable and situated, okay? You're watching this video. I'm hoping you're just maybe in the bathroom or doing something. So get comfortable, maybe take a deep breath. And what we're going to be doing is you're going to be taking a deep breath, and I'm doing on my count for 4 seconds. You're going to hold it for 7 seconds. I'm going to count with you, and you're going to slowly breathe out for 8 seconds. Ready to do this? Okay, take a deep breath to kind of settle, and we're going to breathe and inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Slowly low. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How relaxed do you feel compared to when you started? I just feel like a sense of calmness. This is an impact that breath work and meditation practices can have. A second thing you can do that is being really mainstream now is exposing yourself to cold temperatures or cold plunges, like splashing cold water in your face, taking cold showers, or using an ice bath. This has been shown to activate the vagus nerve and improve vagal tone over time. So there's a reason why people do those cold plunges, but it's not always just for the reasons that a lot of times some of these wellness influencers make it seem. The other one, it's kind of crazy and you're going to laugh about it, but it's either humming, singing, or gargling. The vagus nerve is connected to the vocal cords and throat muscles. So activities like humming, singing, chanting, or even gargling water can stimulate it. These actions create vibrations that help strengthen vagal activity and improve relaxation. You can even try out an exercise called bee breath, where you basically take a big, deep breath and then you hum on the exhale. So it looks like this. Weird, right? I know. It sounds kind of crazy, but there's a reason for doing it that way. And another way that you can improve vagal tone is correct posture. Slouching and poor posture compress the vagus nerve, which reduces its ability to send signals between the body and the brain. So correcting your posture can help you improve that vagal tone. Again, you probably shouldn't really be sitting so long in a day, so maybe this is one area that you can be working on. Now, before we finish this video, I wanted to make a quick note on an important topic around tracking metrics that I feel like I need to address, and it's what I like to call data obsession. I have started seeing people wearing these trackers and being overly stressed about the data it reflects. If their recovery is slow, they will not exercise, or they will feel bad, or their mood changes, or maybe they will feel like they won't really have a good exercise session because of it. The mind is very, very powerful, so where attention goes, energy flows. We need to avoid this. Data is helpful information for awareness and to observe the trends, but not to drastically change behaviors. I have clients who I needed to ask to remove their tracking devices so that they can reduce the stress that the same tracking devices were creating. The very same stress that they were looking to improve by looking at those numbers was actually going up. Health metrics are like the number on the scale. They do not bind you. They give you data that you can use to make informed decisions. So you need to start to ask yourself, if you're currently tracking metrics, what's the relationship that you have with them? Are they a helpful tool and guide to help you change your lifestyle to improve? Or they're constantly making you unhappy or stressed when it shows favorable or unfavorable information? If you're falling into the latter category, you really may need to reconsider if tracking data is the right way to go for you. You don't need to be looking at data to change your health. Improving your HRV is not mutually attached to actually knowing what your HRV is. It's so important that we're establishing that distinction. Now, what's cool about what we do is inside of our Blueprint coaching program, our clients wearing tracking devices, they integrate their data with our platform so we can have eyes on their numbers, so we can be the ones suggesting changes to improve different markers. Sometimes you need an expert, an accountability partner that can help you interpret that information better and help you create a plan that supports your goals with that data in mind. Now, I put together a free training that walks you through a 3-step blueprint system that we install in our clients' lives that generate insane body transformation in some of the guys that we're working with. It honestly works like clockwork when implemented. And again, I'm biased because I created this, but you're going to see a lot of results and a lot of the stories from a lot of the clients that we've served. I'm adding a link to the description below so you can register to watch it. I promise it's going to be worth your time. But that brings us to the end of today's video. I'm hoping that you enjoyed diving into the science behind this unique metric. And if you're someone with a tracking device, now you can look at the HRV number on your tracker, maybe have a full understanding of what the hell you're actually looking at, and maybe what it's telling you and what it means for your overall health. Again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you either share it, like it, comment on it. We'd love to start a conversation. And make sure, if you haven't yet, to subscribe. It's a way to support my work. It's a way to support the effort that I put towards supporting people's health and their fat loss efforts. So I would deeply appreciate if you either hit subscribe, like, or comment, or even share with a friend that may actually use this. Excited to dive into another topic next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.